Buzz On? Sports Buzz is here to take all calls and answer all questions about your favorite team, coach, or player, local, regional, and national. Sports Buzz, taking calls and kicking game.
Welcome to the Sunday Sports Buzz. I'm Kelly Patrick. We have Carlo Kellum and Dorico Murray here. Looking forward to a big boxing event we got going on next weekend, Saturday, July 20th. We're very proud to announce this will be the Sunday Sports Buzz all boxing edition. So we'll get to talk all boxing tonight. For starters, we'll get into, Dorico. I know you and Carlo got the Future Promotions from Louisville. Started, right, I believe, a few years ago. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the way we got started, I was a boxer myself, and, I was, I got in a few fights before I had an injury, and, we didn't want the sport of boxing die out here in Louisville. It pretty much is on life support. But, that's pretty much what we did. We wanted to keep it going, because one soldier failed, there's no sense in, just leaving boxing alone. We just wanted to keep it going because it's a lot bigger than me, so.
So now you got some young fighters coming in. I know there's some guys from, Atlanta, Georgia, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Getting guys from all over the country to come in and participate, be involved in the event next weekend. What type of, fighters can we look forward to seeing next weekend?
Well, if you, Kenny Council from North Carolina, he's a very exciting fighter. If you go to Future Promotions, Louisville.com, or go to our Facebook page, you can see him against, was it Cleavon Bradley, was one of the greatest knockouts I've ever seen in my life. So he has a lot of power. He's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in action July 20th.
That was in Louisville, that knockout you were referring to?
Yeah, it was in Louisville, October, it was about 2 years ago, I think, right? Yeah, that fight was about 2 years ago. That was actually Kenny's first fight.
A little over a year ago. Yeah. That was his debut fight.
Yeah, his debut fight, and it was one of the most memorable knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
That was. It was
if you see the commercial playing on this station, you'll see it. And
we actually got Kenny Council. We've got a clip in the back that we'll play here. Get to see that knockout. That was a very impressive. Remind our listeners, what is the weight class that Kenny Council fights at? Kenny
Council fights at 154. He's a junior middleweight. He's a good fighter. He got a lot to learn still, but he's very explosive. He's got a lot of power, like Carlos said. He's fun to watch, and he's got a lot of skills to be a pressure fighter. Yeah, he's fun to watch.
So he's definitely on the up and up.
Yeah.
So along with, the event we have next weekend, Saturday, July 20th, once again, $20 a piece. Get in at the door, 7 p.m. Mm-hmm. Davis Arena in the Buchel area off Shepherdsville Road.
4400 Shepherdsville Road, the OVW hangout. So if you're familiar with the OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling, exact same location.
Mm-hmm. Aside from that, for the rest of 2013, got a couple fights to look forward to on the national, or I guess you could say global scene. Obviously, everybody knows about Floyd Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez in September. Also, Brandon Bam Bam Rios and Manny Pacquiao will actually be fighting at the end of the year in China. So, what are you guys looking forward to? I know you're a fighter. I know you're a boxing guy. You host a radio show each week. What are you looking forward to the rest of this year?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to the Pacquiao and Rios fight. Rios is coming off a tough loss against Alvarado. They had he lost. He won the first one, lost the second one in a unanimous decision. But this is going to be a tough fight for Manny Pacquiao, coming off 2 straight losses. Even though the Timothy Bradley loss is still controversial, but the knockout that he received from Marquez, we're going to see what type of fighter he is after that, how he's going to recover. So I'm picking Rios. I think Pacquiao doesn't have enough gas in the tank right now. I think that knockout, not too many fighters come back after that. It was too brutal.
Okay. Is back to the Canelo and Alvarez. Throughout the rest of the show tonight, we'll get to talk about the big fights, cover those. But, Dorico, what do you think of Canelo, young Canelo? I think he's 22 years old, fighting the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world in September. Do you think he's got a chance against him?
He's one of those guys. He's not just a guy that has a puncher's chance. This guy, he's actually got skills. He hits hard. He's fast. I don't know if he's quick enough to, keep up with Mayweather. Mayweather's a very slick fighter. A lot of people, people don't appreciate the skills that he has. He has a lot of scientific skills that you know, that TV just, it's hard to capture on television.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be right there up close and personal to really see what's going on.
Yeah, when they talk about the sweet science of boxing, watch Floyd Mayweather fight. There's no blueprint to beat him. But Cannoli is exciting. My only problem with Cannoli is his resume. In my opinion, he's only had one tough fight against Austin Trout. He did beat an Asian Shane Mosley, but other than that, his resume is kind of bleak. So this fight's going to prove a lot. I don't know if he can hit Mayweather. I don't think he's going to be fast enough to hit him, but if he does connect with anything, I think it'll hurt Mayweather. So we just see if he can break down that barrier of that crab defense.
Yeah, so seeing Mayweather fight in May against Robert Ghost Guerrero, I mean, that out of he's 36 years old. I almost was thinking maybe he'd be getting to the point where he's a little washed up. But in my opinion, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, his defense looked better than I've ever seen.
That's what I was about to say. I thought that's the best he looked in a long time.
Maybe ever. I mean, he's not slowing down.
He was clever that fight.
He's like an ice sculpture. He just picks away, man. I mean, he didn't have to knock him out. He had to hurt hand that fight, but he picked away at him the whole fight. I mean, so that's
I could have swore I saw the guy hitting the corner, and Mayweather wasn't even there.
No, I mean, that was on paper or whatever it was. They had promoted that fight to where Guerrero, was going to have a good chance, but that was not a very good
I think it
match.
may have been more exciting if Floyd Sr. would have fought Guerrero's dad.
Yeah, that would have been nice. I know that. That actually brings me to one of my next points there. Danny Garcia, they say maybe fighting Lucas Matisse. You mentioned the outspoken father. So I can't overlook Danny Garcia and his dad. The exciting Argentinian fighter, Lucas Matisse. Y'all got to catch any of his knockouts, or what do you think of him?
He's tough, a lot of power. Garcia, though, we came off a big win recently against, I forgot.
Amir Khan.
Amir Khan, yeah. Amir Khan, who's kind of on the decline right now. I think he ditched his trainer, Freddie Roach. But I'm going to go with Garcia on that one. I'm liking the way he's looking right now.
He's an American, Philadelphia kid.
Yeah, looking pretty sharp.
So, I mean, that's always good to have a somewhat domestic guy. Everybody always likes.
Yeah, like the hometown guy.
They do. I mean,
Americans,
it's nice. Yeah, certainly. It's nice to see people from different parts of the world to do well. And later this year, once again, we'll get to see Pacquiao and Brandon Rios in China. In the heavyweight division, we got David Haye, Tyson Fury coming up. If you're a big heavyweight buff, that may get you interested, but not a ton of interest for the English heavyweights right now.
David Hayes had his chance in the spotlight, losing to Vladimir Klitschko. Wasn't an exciting fight. Vladimir pretty much dominated the entire fight. It was very boring. So, I mean, whoever wins this fight, I think Tyson Fury has about 15 knockouts, 22 wins, so he has some power, but, I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to compete with the Klitschkos right now. Maybe David Haye can beat Vitaly Klitschko, but other than that, I can't see. I mean, the heavyweight division is just so weak right now.
It is, What we mentioned Kenny Council from Charlotte, North Carolina. What other fighters do we have to look forward to for this event next week in Louisville?
Well, we got a couple of local guys here in studio now. We got Comey. He fights at 154, and we got Nan Yates. He's also a junior middleweight also. So
good stuff. We'll get to more of that. We'll have a couple of the fighters actually on set with us, and we'll be back with more Sunday Sports Buzz.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Margaret's Moving and Storage, Press Forward Media, and Future Promotions present Saturday Night Fights Round 6. Saturday, July 20th, Pro Boxing invades OVW's Davis Arena, 4400 Shepherdsville Road. Doors open at 7 p.m. Show starts at 7:30. $20 general admission. In the ring, Louisville's own Komi Abuku, Atlanta's Gift Cole, and Kenneth Council from Asheville, North Carolina. This event sponsored by Cook's Locksmith and Brandon J. Lawrence, the lawyer for the city.
Hi, I'm Jim Weeks. At MaxCare, no project is too big. We have the capabilities to handle the smallest residential project to the largest commercial undertaking. We even clean big houses like this one. And everyone has been abuzz about our amazing 4 areas for $99 special. We want to let everyone know that MaxCare also cleans upholstery, ceramic tile, and air ducts. We also install and refinish hardwood floors dust-free. MaxCare, locally owned and family operated. Give us a call, 636-4629.
Don't let computer problems frustrate you, whether it's pop-ups, a virus, hardware or software problem, or troubleshooting any computer problems. Simply call Igloo On-Site Computer Repair. Igloo's highly professional, experienced technicians will come to your home or business and put an end to your computer problems at a third the cost of most competitors. Call now, 2 On-Site. That's area code 502-266-7483. Igloo On-Site Computer Repair.
Hey, Jenny Merriman here from 21 Live. I hope you're having a real great start to your summer, and for all the best stuff at the best prices for your summer fun, check out our website. It's shop21live.com. Every category of life, we go around Kentuckiana, we find the best stuff and give you the greatest savings on it. So check out our website often, shop21live.com. While you're there, be sure and like us on Facebook and sign up for our email newsletter. And for all the best stuff, watch our show. We're on ION Saturday mornings at 10 a.m.
Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Buzz. Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Buzz. I'm Kelly Patrick with KentuckySports.co. Got a couple guys here with us talking about the fight that we have going on next Saturday. We've also got a little bit of a national perspective, or even global. We have our man Radio Raheem live from Hollywood, California, on the line with us. How you doing this evening, Radio?
It's a wonderful Sunday, man. It's a wonderful Sunday. I'm glad to be with you guys. It's a beautiful sunset. I know it's dark out where you are, but the sun's just going down out here, and I'm having a good time with the Sunday Punch, man.
Yeah, certainly. For those of you who don't know, Raheem and I have been working on every Sunday show where we talk all boxing for an hour. At the time, it's about half an hour every Sunday, but we're working toward getting our own 1 hour slot where it's all boxing in Louisville. So right around the same type of building the hype and excitement for the sport in the city of Louisville. We're working on that. Raheem, you know, the big fight that we have coming up at the end of this year or in September is, as we mentioned, Canelo Alvarez and Floyd Mayweather. We're actually going to play a clip here of Floyd. We'll have that queued up here. But we have Floyd talking about really disrespecting Canelo Alvarez. He said that Canelo is not a pay-per-view main attraction, which I guess he's really not. He's taking a shot at him, saying the only time he's even been on pay-per-views is he's when he's on Floyd's undercard. So I mean, Raheem, what do you think of that? I mean, is that typical Floyd trying to build up the fight, trying to sell tickets, or what do you take from that?
No, I think that's sincere, Floyd, and a lot of times his bravado goes into selling tickets. I think there is a lot of shtick involved in past promotions, but this one's gotten under his skin. This matchup for him, he's taken on more disadvantages than we've seen in quite some time. The guy, you have to give him credit, has accepted the challenge. He's given up weight. The fight's at 152. Floyd genuinely fights at 147. That's where he's comfortable. He's probably not going to come into the ring much heavier than 147, even though there's a 152 maximum weight. You know, that's only 2 pounds lighter than where Canelo is comfortable. Obviously, he's given away about 10 years in age. He's given away size. You know, there's a lot that Floyd could have negotiated for or used as an excuse to get out of this fight. But instead, he went ahead and got the fight signed. It's only 4 months after his last fight, which Floyd hasn't fought within a 4-month time span between fights in over 10 years. So I think that the idea that Canelo Alvarez is the biggest star in boxing or is the new golden boy has really irritated Floyd, and that actually cornered him emotionally, egomaniacally into signing a fight where finally, you know, the advantages may be on the other side.
Hey, Radio Raheem, this is Carlo. I had a quick question. Is this the toughest fight for Floyd Mayweather right now, in your opinion?
By far. I say hands down, of all the guys he could have chosen, you know, obviously within reason, that are even near his weight class, this is the toughest fight he could choose right now. With that said, he's picking this fight. If he's going to fight Canelo, now's the time to do it. Like we all know, Floyd has said that he's only got a couple more years in the sport. He's only got 5 more fights signed to his contract with Showtime. So if he's going to fight Canelo, it's better to do it this year than next year. Better now than later, because Canelo's only getting better. And there's been a lot of speculation over the past 1.5 to 2 years as to whether or not Canelo was even going to get this fight at all. But Floyd was willing, I think, earlier, and Oscar De La Hoya wasn't willing to put Canelo, obviously, Canelo's promoter being Oscar De La Hoya, wasn't willing to put Canelo in the ring with Floyd because they didn't feel he was ready. He's shown in this Austin Trout fight, beating Austin Trout, who, by the way,
Raheem, another question.
Yeah.
Okay, who do you have winning?
Okay, let me get there. So I had Trout winning the Canelo fight. I understand that. That was my pick. I never made predictions before the fight, only after. That way I'm always right. So the Trout fight, I had that pick for Trout, and Canelo came in there and did what I had yet seen him do, which was head movement, defense, footwork. But he did gas late. He knocked Trout down, as I didn't think he was going to be able to do. And the question is, if he's able to improve and make another leap in the Mayweather fight, he can't be the fighter that we saw against Trout. That guy's going to get beat. But being young, committed, absolutely focused, if he's able to make a leap again in skill level when he enters the ring against Floyd, he's got the best shot that anybody's had in a long time, and probably the only shot that anybody's going to have before Floyd retires.
So it's Radio Raheem, you mentioned that Mayweather has 5 more fights. So let's say he pretty much beats Canelo. What's next? What's left in that division for him to conquer? I mean, what are the other 4 fights that we want to see, the public?
You know, honestly, unless Floyd goes way outside the box, I think this is the last most exciting fight we're going to get. I do have a prediction, though, that will excite some. I don't think 5 fights is all he's got left. I think he's got 6 fights left. Now, you're going to have to walk with me on this one, all right? Let me take you down this path of logic. He's got 5 fights technically. That's what he claims. He's got a 5-fight deal with Showtime. So that's Golden Boy promoted 5 more fights. That, if he were to win all 5, would put him at 49-0, which ties Rocky Marciano for being the so-called, best record to ever retire in boxing, 49-0. Now, who among us believes that Floyd Mayweather is going to be satisfied tying the best all-time record?
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Not me.
Yeah.
Not me. And it also makes him a free agent, if you will. At the end of this 5-fight deal, Showtime's got no contractual obligation. Golden Boy's got no contractual obligation. Floyd Mayweather will be building Mayweather Promotions this whole time, putting on his own events. That is when I believe, if it will ever happen, we are most likely to see Mayweather versus Pacquiao for number 50. And that, if he could win that fight, would retire him with the best record in boxing of all time. And believe you me, he's going to claim that he's the greatest of all time. And that fight, because it won't be as exciting as it would have been 2.5 years ago when both guys seemed at the top of their game, but because it's for all the marbles and it's Floyd's last fight, it will be a super mega fight, almost rivaling what it would have been if we had all seen it when we really wanted to.
Would certainly be an end to a storybook career. Floyd could lay stake to being the greatest fighter ever. I mean, it'd be tough to argue with him saying that. He certainly wouldn't have unanimous agreement on that, but you never will. We're going to continue our talk of the boxing for the rest of 2013, and we'll be back with more Sunday Sports Buzz.
Little Bo Peep wanted a car for keeps. She looked all around and got turned down. Then she met the fine folks here at Jim Brown Auto Sales.
Don't let the wool be pulled over your eyes. Come see my daddy's flock of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs with down payments as low as $99. Visit us today on the web at www.JimBrownAutoSales.com. Who's your daddy?
¿Quién es su papá? Cha cha.
The landscape of sports radio has changed in a big way. 1450 The Sports Buzz has you covered with the best and most local and national programming in the Kentuckiana area. Mason and Myers in the morning, The Dan Patrick Show, The Afternoon Drive with Perrin Johnson and Trevor Kelsey, and Inside the Press Box with Nick Coffey, as well as the best high school coverage in the area. Get the best coverage in Kentucky and Southern Indiana with 1450 The Sports Buzz
and 1450thesportsbuzz.com.
Keep your eye on 21 for the latest news and weather information from the local team that is working for you. Weekdays at 1 p.m., you can see Wave 3 News midday on Channel 21. Get the breaking news happening right now in our community and around the world, plus the most accurate forecast from Kentuckiana's favorite weather team. Catch the day's news and weather at a time that's right for you. Wave 3 News midday, weekdays at 1 p.m. One more reason to keep your eye on 21.
Margaret's Moving and Storage, Press Forward Media, and Future Promotions present Saturday Night Fights Round 6. Saturday, July 20th, Pro Boxing invades OVW's Davis Arena, 4400 Shepherdsville Road. Doors open at 7 p.m. Show starts at 7:30. $20 general admission. In the ring, Louisville's own Komi Abuku, Atlanta's Gift Cole, and Kenneth Council from Asheville, North Carolina. This event sponsored by Cooks Locksmith and Brandon J. Lawrence, the lawyer for the city.
Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Buzz. Getting some great boxing talk in. I don't know if you can tell, but gets everybody pretty excited. We still got our man Radio Raheem on the line. Before I had to cut him off from the last segment, we were talking about Floyd Mayweather, continuing his career and tying, and then +1, going to 50-0, having a storybook ending to his career, and that maybe even being against Manny Pacquiao. Raheem, you think we will end up seeing Floyd fight Manny Pacquiao? Because all my sports friends that aren't as big of boxing fans, that's all they talk about when the topic comes up. Do you think we'll end up seeing Floyd fight Manny?
I think that's the only scenario in which we do see that fight. He's not going to be one of these next 5 fights. That's not going to happen. It doesn't make sense. There's really not the fervor for that fight that existed 2.5 years ago, even a year or so ago. Now that Manny's been knocked out, he's got to come back against Rios. He's got to kind of reestablish himself as a threat. I think most people are picking Floyd hands down for that fight. So this fight is bigger than that one. If he were to fight Pacquiao...
Raheem, let me cut y'all. Where do you think Broner fits in with that, out of those 5 fights or 6 fights?
That Broner fight's not going to happen. That will never happen. That's absolutely a non-starter. And if Pacquiao would have been signed to fight Mayweather in September instead of Canelo, I don't think it would be as big a fight. I think this Canelo fight is bigger than the Pacquiao fight would be right now. But for number 50, to end Floyd's career, it'll be a mega extravaganza, huge fight. They may even do it in the Philippines or some, I can see that being the next Thrilla in Manila.
Radio Raheem, I want to switch fights, get your opinion on the Timothy Bradley and Juan Manuel Marquez fight coming up. That's a fight I'm looking forward to seeing. Bradley coming off 2 big wins, I guess, against Pacquiao, which was controversial, and against the Russian Ruslan. How do you see that fight panning out with Marquez coming off the big knockout, Timothy Bradley undefeated? Who do you got?
That fight means so much to each fighter for different reasons. Marquez wins that fight. I believe Marquez retires. The happiest man in boxing. He's happier than Floyd Mayweather. He's happier than Manny Pacquiao. He will solidify his legacy and legend in Mexico, possibly as the greatest Mexican boxer of all time, as Mexicans believe him to be. If he goes away having knocked out Manny Pacquiao, and this is the reason he's fighting Bradley, it takes the belts that he believes is rightfully his, that he couldn't acquire by knocking out Pacquiao because Bradley already stole them. Bradley, on the other hand, feels disrespected and disregarded. He's a multi-champion in multi-weight divisions. He's undefeated. He beat Pacquiao once and didn't get the credit for it, didn't get the rematch that he thought he deserved, had already printed up tickets and promotional materials for it, was embarrassed not to be able to get that rematch, is not packing Madison Square Garden or MGM Grand. He's fighting in small arenas, and he's not a marquee boxing draw. That keeps him up at night. This fight, beating Marquez, will put Bradley on the map in a way that he feels, that's the chip on his shoulder. he feels that he deserves to be on that map already.
So, Radio Raheem.
Bradley has a better chance against Marquez than most would think, having watched Marquez beat Pacquiao, and here's why. Marquez has Pacquiao's number. But if we take that out of the equation, he hasn't looked phenomenal against the elite in the sport. And Bradley has shown that he's willing to slug, but his real game is a technical boxer. He's a technician in there. He's not going to get caught with counter punches like Katsides or Pacquiao even. So it's going to be a war, and I'm not picking one over the other, but I guarantee you that fight right there is for a war, and these guys are going to leave it all in the ring.
One more question for me, Radio. You mentioned that the rematch never happened between Bradley and Marquez. How much of a factor is Bob Arum? Because he wouldn't allow the trilogy between Rios and Alvarado. He said, no, they're not going to fight each other again for the third fight. We're going to have a few fights in between. Bob Arum was supposedly the problem between Pacquiao and Mayweather. How much is Bob Arum keeping great matches away from the public?
Well, what I think you meant to say was that Bradley didn't get the rematch with Pacquiao, and
Pacquiao.
Bob Arum is at the root of everything. So understand whatever happens or doesn't happen, it's because Bob Arum either wants it to happen or does not want it to happen. With the Bradley circumstance, I think Bradley may have overplayed his hand a bit, and I don't think Pacquiao wanted that fight. Remember, Pacquiao felt that he had won the fight. He felt that the fans believed he had won the fight. He didn't want to fight that fight again, and he believed that he could end all the criticism about Marquez by finishing him off once and for all. Pacquiao went into that Marquez fight believing he was going to win it, and I think it irritated Pacquiao that Marquez was running around saying he had beaten Pacquiao twice or three times already and never got the decision, and Mexicans were saying the same, and Pacquiao wanted to close that chapter, so he didn't want to rematch Bradley. That fight wouldn't have been a huge draw, and Bob Arum's stable is relatively small compared to his competition in Golden Boy. So he can't just be throwing his major fighters in against the same guys over and over again and bleeding them dry. He's got to play a lot of mix and match chess with his stable. So what he's done, if you see it in the big picture, is what's most effective moneymaker for Top Rank, and it keeps the belts at Top Rank. And, Marquez is a wild card. You let Marquez get those belts, you can't control him. Marquez has already shown that he'll go fight on Golden Boy. He doesn't have the allegiance or the contractual obligations to Top Rank that Bradley or Pacquiao do. So it was necessary for him to build Bradley's brand a little more, which is what the Provodnikov fight provided, and to let Marquez stew a little bit longer while he could set up the chessboard.
Certainly, Raheem, we are covering the fight that we have here in Louisville next Saturday, July 20th. Just kind of a quick reminder before we hit our break here. The event is next Saturday, July 20th, Davis
Arena, 4400 Old Shepherdsville Road.
Mm-hmm. And it is $20 at the door. Event starts at 7 o'clock p.m. The fights will actually start at 7:30. Should be at least 5 fights. Is that right?
Well, we got 6.
Got 6 fights. Okay, so it'll be an action-packed
night. It's boxing.
Definitely an exciting night.
If
you've never been to a Future Promotions event, you're missing out. So it's going to be a lot of excitement.
Each one they have gets better. It's documented on the YouTube videos. You can check out the fights. I mean, each one, better action each and every time. We saw the Kenny Council knockout earlier. I mean, you guys got, these are professional fighters. We'll be back to talk more about boxing from the Weekend Sports Buzz.
Calling all chicken lovers, it's the new Chicken Strips box, only at Rally's. 2 big pieces of white meat chicken, crispy outside, juicy inside, paired with our famous fries. For taste that rocks, grab a $2 box. Rally's, feast on.
Margaret's Moving and Storage, Press Forward Media, and Future Promotions present Saturday Night Fights Round 6. Saturday, July 20th, Pro Boxing invades OVW's Davis Arena, 4400 Shepherdsville Road. Doors open at 7 p.m. Show starts at 7:30. $20 general admission. In the ring, Louisville's own Komi Abuku, Atlanta's Gift Cole, and Kenneth Counsell from Asheville, North Carolina. This event sponsored by Cook's Locksmith and Brandon J. Lawrence, a lawyer for the city.
Little Bo Peep wanted a car for keeps. She looked all around and got turned down. Then she met the fine folks here at Jim Brown Auto Sales.
Don't let the wool be pulled over your eyes. Come see my daddy's flock of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs with down payments as low as $99. Visit us today on the web at www.JimBrownAutoSales.com. Who's your daddy?
¿Quién es su papá? Cha cha.
The drive-thru you love has the frozen treats you crave. Rally's waffle cones, just $1.49. Rich, creamy soft serve in vanilla, swirl, or chocolate. At $1.49, waffle you waiting for? Rally's, freeze on.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Buzz. Myself, Kelly Patrick, with KentuckySports.co. We've got a full hour of boxing tonight. A lot of excitement here. Here in the studio with me now, we have Sean Crowdis and Komi Abuku, better known as the African Terror.
Yes, sir.
African Terror here will be fighting next Saturday.
That's right.
So, I mean, looking forward to it. Middleweight, so 160 pounds.
154.
Okay, I'm sorry. Junior middleweight? Okay.
154 this time.
Okay. Sean, tell us about your gym. I mean, your training. You do it. It's in Louisville. How long have you been doing it?
Well, I've been doing it since '06.
Okay.
And had some pretty good prospects come through. Of course, you know, boxing is kind of starving now a little bit here in Louisville, but however, a lot of people sometimes they come and they pretty good prospects, but then after a while they kind of lose interest because boxing is kind of slow in Louisville.
Yeah.
But we're hoping for things to turn around.
Certainly. You know, we still have our man Radio Raheem on the line. If I could have Trevor in the back there cue up our Floyd Mayweather video clip. Raheem, are you still with us?
Of course.
Okay. Here we got it.
Yeah. Well, you want me to...
Actually, we're playing the video clip. I think we got the audio with that, too.
Every time they get a guy, they build him up. And you know what I do?
We may not. We can see Floyd there. If you don't have the audio there, you can hear all the boos.
And it's so crazy that Canelo is such a big star, but he's never been on pay-per-view unless he was on my undercard. But he's such a big star. He's such a big star, Oscar.
Review attraction. What should we read into that, Raheem?
Well, let me tell you, first of all, that was Los Angeles. That was the last stop on the promotional tour. They hit, I believe, 5 cities. It was an international tour. They hit Mexico as well. And what he's really saying is, and this gets into the weeds a little bit, but some may recall that the last Floyd Mayweather fight against Robert Guerrero was missing something that had become a staple on Floyd Mayweather undercard, which was Saul Canelo Alvarez. So Canelo refused to be on Floyd's undercard for that Guerrero fight unless Floyd would agree before the fight to fight Canelo next. Floyd obviously refused. Canelo wasn't bluffing. He refused to put the Trout Canelo fight on Floyd's undercard, and that's why we had those 2 events on 2 separate nights. Originally, they were supposed to be on the same night on Floyd's pay-per-view card. I think that is another aspect of what I discussed earlier about irritating Floyd and actually being a savvy business move on Canelo's part, because it wasn't Oscar's idea, it wasn't Golden Boy's idea. I don't think they really supported him in that decision or given Floyd that ultimatum, because Golden Boy makes money on those pay-per-view fights, and it would have been a bigger fight it had Canelo agreed to be on the undercard. So believe me, Golden Boy wanted Canelo on that undercard. They didn't want him to give Floyd that ultimatum. And the proof is in the pudding when the numbers came out. that fight did not do great numbers. They did barely 1 million pay-per-view buys, which for a Mayweather fight and the money they spent on the promotion came in way under the estimation. So with all that said, the reason that Floyd is irritated and wanted to make a point of saying that Canelo's never been on pay-per-view is because, again, the way Golden Boy is selling him, the way Oscar De La Hoya is personally selling Canelo, is that he's rivals Floyd at a fraction of an audience, that he rivals Floyd in stardom, that he's the next generation. Floyd's on the way out, and this kid is coming to take the throne and the crown, and that's what this fight is all about. And Floyd obviously takes exception to that characterization, and that's why he pointedly made his comments directly to Oscar De La Hoya. There's a lot of bad blood there about the way Oscar is promoting this fight and promoting Canelo in a way over Mayweather.
Certainly. I mean, I may be reading too much into it, but Oscar De La Hoya being a Mexican fighter, he's got this new, I guess you could say, protege. Floyd also is promoted by Oscar De La Hoya, obviously, so that's a issue in itself. Is there maybe a lot to that, Raheem, that maybe Oscar is trying to crown Canelo as the next true golden boy, whereas Floyd's the one who's been making him all this money for all these years?
Well, you have to be blind not to see the parallels between Canelo and De La Hoya. The one factor that separates, well, one of the biggest factors that separate the two at the stage of the career that Canelo's having right now and where Oscar was at that stage, Oscar was an All-American. He really was the golden boy. He was an American Olympian. And he never got acceptance from the Mexican-American crowd and the fans, and especially the Mexican fans, because he wasn't, air quotes, Mexican enough. It was a tough struggle for him to win over those Mexican, first-generation Mexican-Americans to his side. Well, Canelo doesn't have that problem. Ironically, Canelo looks more American with the red hair and the freckles than even Oscar does, but he's a true Mexican. He's not a Mexican-American. He's a Mexican. He doesn't barely speak any English, and they love him in Mexico. So I believe that Oscar sees in him an opportunity to connect, first of all, back with Mexico and be the shepherd for this young giant that's about to, in his words, take over the sport of boxing, and in Oscar's words, the biggest draw in boxing. He's certainly the biggest draw in Mexico. And with the clean-cut, very charming, charismatic image that Canelo puts forward, and it's genuine, he's just a money tree. He's a money tree waiting to blossom. Like, the guy really does have the earning potential to replace Floyd Mayweather, and the relationship between Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya has always been contentious. Remember, they fought. There was bad blood there. They never really ironed that out. This is a relationship entirely based on money, not respect.
That's becoming very, very evident, and I got to agree with you. You know, Canelo, the ladies really like him. He's a big, strong 22-year-old guy. He's winning. He's undefeated. He's got that, undefeated record that everybody wants these days. Once again, we've got a trainer on our hands here. What is your take on the technical aspect of Floyd? I mean, do you think that...
I'll say experience.
Okay. Well, Floyd wins that. He's 36 years old to 22.
Right.
Do you think that Canelo will be able to get in and get some shots in on him?
I believe he'll be able to get some shots in on him, but I think that Mayweather's experience and his defensive skills, I think it's going to pull him through.
Okay.
I think it's going to pull him through.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You got anything, Comey?
I agree with that.
Okay. Watching the last fight for Floyd against Robert Ghost Guerrero, and Raheem, I don't know if you agree, but I think maybe Floyd looked better than he's ever looked. We're going to talk more about that, and we'll be back with more Sunday Sports Buzz.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Jim Weeks. At MaxCare, no project is too big. We have the capabilities to handle the smallest residential project to the largest commercial undertaking. We even clean big houses like this one. And everyone has been abuzz about our amazing 4 areas for $99 special. We want to let everyone know that MaxCare also cleans upholstery, ceramic tile, and air ducts. We also install and refinish hardwood floors dust-free. MaxCare, locally owned and family operated. Give us a call, 636-4629.
The landscape of sports radio has changed in a big way. 1450 The Sports Buzz has you covered with the best and most local and national programming in the Kentuckiana area. Mason and Myers in the morning, The Dan Patrick Show, The Afternoon Drive with Perrin Johnson and Trevor Kelsey, and Inside the Press Box with Nick Coffey, as well as the best high school coverage in the area. Get the best coverage in Kentucky and Southern Indiana with 1450 The Sports Buzz
and 1450thesportsbuzz.com.
Ohio Valley Wrestling, Saturdays at 12 noon, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on ION 21.
Keep your eye on 21 for the latest news and weather information from the local team that is working for you. Weekdays at 1 p.m. you can see Wave 3 News midday on Channel 21. Get the breaking news happening right now in our community and around the world. Plus the most accurate forecast from Kentuckiana's favorite weather team. Catch the day's news and weather at a time that's right for you. Wave 3 News midday, weekdays at 1 p.m. One more reason to keep your eye on 21.
Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Buzz. We've got in studio here with us Komi Abuko. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Abuku, close
Abuku,
enough.
okay. African Terror. You got a big fight coming up next Saturday. It is your first professional fight. I know you're fighting against a guy named Tommy Ayers. I believe it's his second professional fight. He's from Cincinnati. What are you looking forward to? I mean, what's your stance? Tell us about you as a fighter.
I'm a counter puncher.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll be patient enough to wait for his mistake and counterattack.
Komi is originally from Africa.
Yes, sir.
Hence the African Terror name. They just don't hand those out. So we got look forward to his first fight next week. You're a counter puncher. I mean,
Power puncher too.
Power puncher. Okay. You trained for years in Louisville.
I've been training for years.
How old are you?
24.
Okay. What do you think you weigh right now?
Right now, probably 157.
157, so you just got to drop a few pounds before Saturday.
Yeah, it's doable.
Okay. And you're right-handed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we know if Tommy Ayers Jr. is left-handed or right-handed?
I have no idea.
Okay.
We'll find out on Saturday.
He seems much too charming and nice to be the African Terror. Who gave him this nickname?
I think of all the guys in the gym gave him that.
Where'd that come from? I mean, it seems real smiley to me. You don't see...
Yeah, he's the terror.
Okay.
Yeah, I tell you. Yeah. He gains a lot of respect, inspiring and everything.
You got a favorite professional fighter? Or?
I like a little bit of every. Got a lot of fighters that I like. I like Floyd. I also like Pacquiao.
Okay.
I was excited about the fight that was supposed to happen between them, but kind of disappointed that it didn't happen.
We still got our man Raheem on the line, and you mentioned Pacquiao. Raheem just made a pretty bold prediction that Floyd would fulfill the remaining, I think, 4 fights on his Showtime contract, and then he would add one and end up fighting Pacquiao to call it quits and be 50-0, and is arguably the greatest fighter ever. Pacquiao, we do know, will be fighting later this year in China against Brandon Rios. And Raheem, what is the significance of that fight? We know that Pacquiao has, at least on paper, now lost 2 fights in a row. What are we looking forward to with this Brandon and Bam Bam Rios versus Pacquiao fight?
You know, Kelly, I think I have to qualify my prediction. Pacquiao's got to win this fight against Brandon Rios. And Pacquiao has to either continue to win, or he could even retire. He could fight Rios, win that fight, possibly fight once or twice more, and then retire, and then wait for Floyd's 50th fight, come out of retirement like after a year or something for that 50th fight. I could see it happening that way. But if Pacquiao loses another fight, then my prediction is highly unlikely to come true, because it is necessary for Pacquiao to rebuild his brand over this next 2 years so that 50th fight can be the mega fight that it needs to be for my prediction to come true. Returning to Rios and China, it's the perfect fight for Pacquiao stylistically if it's the Pacquiao we've come to know. If Pacquiao comes in there at the top of his game, the guy who's become an international superstar in the ring, fights at angles, fights nonstop, is aggressive but has side-to-side movement, two-handed, he beats Rios all night long. He's either going to stop him in around the 7th or 8th or just put a punishing beating on him for 12 rounds. That's a big question that still remains after a fighter has been knocked out in the way that Pacquiao was knocked out. I mean, Pacquiao wasn't just, 10 counted out and still had his wits about him. The guy was unconscious, face down on the canvas. Whoever you are, that's going to make a difference in your mentality. It may, for better or worse, but it's going to make a difference. So the real thing that people are looking to see in this fight isn't so much the matchup that I just described, because the matchup pretty much speaks for itself. Everything is in Pacquiao's favor when it comes to the matchup. The question is, are we going to see the Pacquiao of old, or is this Pacquiao post-knockout going to be weaker? Is he going to be gun-shy? Is he going to be easier to hit? Is he going to be less willing to engage? Is the knockout power that Brandon Rios brings, which is his greatest weapon, going to be enough to lay Pacquiao out this time, put him back to sleep? Brandon Rios is no shrinking violet. He's got heavy hands, and he does nothing but come forward all night. He can take a shot. The question is, can Pacquiao still take a shot?
I think that if Pacquiao keeps that jab going, I think he's going to nullify a whole lot of things, and he'll kind of set up for that right hand. I think he'll land it. I think he's going to do some damage.
Certainly.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Again, you're talking about the Pacquiao that you've come accustomed to know. Absolutely. So the question is whether or not that's the Pacquiao that's going to show up, whether or not mentally he's ready for this challenge, and he's going to land the right hand because Brandon Rios is easy to hit, but he's not going to knock Brandon Rios out with that right hand, not early. So, I think the question is more what happens when Pacquiao eats the right hand more so than what happens when he lands one.
How does that work, Raheem? It's going to be broadcast in China. I know you're in Hollywood and you'll somehow watch it. But Comey and Sean and I, we want to watch it too here. I mean, what's the time situation there? Is it going to be, I guess it would be on HBO, pay-per-view? How are we going to watch that?
That's a good question. I haven't looked into it. I imagine that it's probably going to be on at a pretty odd time. I don't expect them to accommodate the American audience with the time in China. They're probably going to show it live on pay-per-view at an odd hour and then replay it again later in the day. That's how they've tended to do it, these fights overseas. They come on, odd hours in the morning, and then they'll replay it in the evening. But for a pay-per-view audience, that's a good logistical question. I'll have to look into that. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I do know that more tickets are going to be sold in China than would have been sold anywhere else. If they had held the fight anywhere else, they're not going to pack it like they're going to pack China. China is a cash cow. Again, that's why Bob Arum is there and putting on fights there. Not only that, but a little bit of inside baseball, that Manny Pacquiao is able to keep a lot more of his purse because the taxes that he has to pay here in America are significantly greater than what he's going to have to pay in China, which is another incentive for Pacquiao to fight overseas. But as far as when the fight's going to be shown, I'm going to have to look into that, and I'll definitely get back. We'll let the fans know.
Certainly have to let me know that. I'm sorry, Sean.
I just want to say we're looking forward to a good fight here in Louisville with Comey Abuku.
Comey Abuku next Saturday. Tommy Ayers Jr. here in Louisville next Saturday, 7 p.m., 7:30. Do we know which fight you'll be of the night, or you just...
We're not sure.
Okay.
We're not sure.
You're going to show up ready?
Just show up ready to fight.
Okay.
We're going to be ready. It's going to be a good one.
Tommy Ayers Jr., Comey Abuku, the African Terror.
That's right.
Going down on Saturday.
Next Saturday, you better look out. So.
Look out for the skills and techniques.
Certainly.
Technical boxing.
Well, we'll be back with more boxing talk after this break with more Sunday Sports Buzz.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
Get everything you need to make that old ride look new again at Smart Shoppers, the region's largest auto body supplier, providing you the full line of professional-grade materials at the best prices around. Paint like the pros with a full line of House of Color paint products, only at
Smart Shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, this may be the most important phone call you'll ever make.
I owed $50,000 in taxes. But listen.
Your tax problem is settled. You only owe $8,400.
What a great message.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, then you owe it to yourself to call this number. Let our experts help guide you through the process of negotiating a tax settlement. Call this number or go to tax10000.com.
Keep your eye on 21 for the latest news and weather information from the local team that is working for you. Weekdays at 1 p.m. you can see Wave 3 News midday on Channel 21. Get the breaking news happening right now in our community and around the world. Plus the most accurate forecast from Kentuckiana's favorite weather team. Catch the day's news and weather at a time that's right for you. Wave 3 News midday, weekdays at 1 p.m. One more reason to keep your eye on 21.
Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Buzz. We're continuing our boxing show, all boxing, all hour. We're here joined by a local guy, Nan Yates. Looking forward to which will be his fifth professional fight. Fourth professional fight next Saturday.
Yep, first in Louisville.
First in Louisville.
Yeah, in my 12 years, it'll be my first in Louisville.
In your 12 years of being a professional fighter?
Fighting, period.
Okay.
Yeah.
First in Louisville. Where have you been training at?
I've trained in Louisville the whole time. I used to train Cane Run, moved out towards Bluegrass Industrial, and then now I'm at Bad Dog, which is off of Outer Loop.
Okay. You have the fortune or the honor of fighting Kenny Council, the guy we've been talking about.
Apparently so.
The guy
yeah.
who has the impressive knockout from October of last year. So.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you go into a fight like that? You know, he's a big puncher. That's his reputation. I mean, what type of strategy are you thinking?
I mean, to me, really, it's just a name. You know, I mean, not to take anything away from anybody's talent, but, I mean, you know, I've done it for a while, and I like to see myself out there. You know, we're talking about Floyd and Pacquiao. You know, I was like, well, I'm 30. You know, I'm getting up there. So, you know, my career is not going to be another 10, 15 years. So, you know, I train like I'm training for Pacquiao, Mayweather.
Yeah. Bernard Hopkins is, how old is
Definitely.
Bernard?
Yeah. He's
50?
He's getting there.
I think he's
49.
He's
Yeah,
49, so I mean, it always varies.
But look at him.
Yeah, he keeps himself
He's
in
amazing.
tip top. Yeah, he's I heard a writer say once every 100 years you'll get a fighter who fights like that till he's 49 or 50.
Right.
You went to J-Town High School.
Yes, sir.
You said you're originally from the Houston area, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Houston, Texas. Moved here when I was a baby, so it's my hometown now, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you got into boxing?
Right out of high school, graduated in 2000. You know, everybody was looking for careers, what college they wanted to go to. I started looking for boxing gyms.
Really?
You know, that was my passion since I was a kid. I used to sneak up at night and watch pay-per-views with my parents, like behind the couch while they were watching them.
So your parents always liked to watch the fights.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What fights? I know that we mentioned the Floyd Pacquiao fight. You looking forward to any other fights the rest of this year? Or?
I mean, I just like seeing good matchups, you know, like, again, their names until they get in there and start performing. You know, you see what happened to Pacquiao's knockout. No one saw that coming. No one really knows what's going to happen with Mayweather. I mean, we all assume that we do one way or another, but you never really know. So, you know, I'm just looking forward to, actually, I'm looking forward to my own fight next weekend.
That's a good answer.
That's the one I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Carlo, how long you been working with Nane?
Actually, we just got familiar with each other, but I've heard a lot about him. You know, I'm a big boxing guy, but I think that's going to be the fight of the night. Nan Yates, Kenny Council, Nan being the hometown guy. Kenny's going to have his hands full. This guy's been in some tough fights, and he might. Hey, he may shock everybody. You know, he's a tough guy, so he's the hometown guy. So I'm going to have to stick behind him.
What weight class is
Go
that
with the
again?
hometown guy.
Also junior middleweight?
We're going to be middleweight, 160.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You going to have to cut weight, or what are you weighing now?
I pretty much stay around that weight. So,
Okay.
within the next few days, if I'm not there, I will be, by the middle of the week. So it won't be an issue.
What's that? Who's your trainer?
Actually, I train at Bad Dog, and it's mixed martial arts there. So we, like with striking, I kind of work with just who's the best at striking.
Bad Dogs.
That's what makes him so dangerous. He has the MMA experience along with the boxing. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but Rock Cruz, pretty much the head striking coach. AJ, who's the owner, who's also an MMA fighter. I usually just work with all the guys, but those are pretty much the main ones hands-on with me.
And like I said, I'm looking forward to it. Nan Yates, Kenny Council. You heard it here first. It's going to be the fight of the night. So when we come back on here with Nan Yates, our hometown guy, we'll have a lot to talk about after July 20th.
Certainly. The only city with 4 heavyweight champions. A lot of history.
A lot
here.
of history in Louisville. 4 heavyweight champions. Of course, everybody knows Ali, Greg Page, Jimmy Ellis, my uncle.
You know him, don't you?
Yeah. And Jimmy Ellis, who's still alive, he doesn't get as much honor or publicity as he should, but he's still around. And of course, a guy named Marvin Hart from I think the 50s. If you go to our website, futurepromotionslouisville.com, we have a nice breakdown of all the great fighters out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Certainly.
But great history here. I mean, this is the home of boxing. I remember growing up watching the Golden Gloves on Channel 3. So we're trying to bring it back. That's what Future Promotions is here for, to bring boxing back to Louisville in a big way. So round 6 is our 6th fight, and this is definitely going to be the best one.
I know on your Saturday show, you all do a lot of boxing talk.
Oh, yeah. Boxing is my favorite sport, so I always try to squeeze it in whenever I can on the sports show, even though I'm on there with a bunch of Louisville guys. But
bunch of Louisville guys.
U of L guys.
What does that have to do with anything?
You were going for me a minute ago.
Yeah,
you all been winning. I'm a Cat fan, so I'm used to winning.
What is that, 6 to 7 every Saturday?
6 to 7 every Saturday, Main Event Sports Radio, 104.7 FM. So tune in and hear some of the best sports talks in town besides your show.
Yeah, certainly.
But with this event coming up, I have to thank our sponsors before we get off. Margaret's Moving and Storage. Stormy Weathers, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a old school boxing guy here in Louisville, has his own company. He's one of our sponsors. He actually fought Evander Holyfield back in the day. Tough guy. Press Forward Media, one of our primary sponsors, and also Brandon Lawrence and Cook's Locksmith. So we like to give thanks to them for making this fight possible.
Definitely.
But I'm excited, man. So I'm getting butterflies leading up to the event.
6 days till the
event.
Yeah,
showtime. It's gonna be a rough week.
You don't want to talk about Kenny no more?
Hey, you might knock me out.
Yeah. Teasing on the break that he's fighting the guy who he got to sit back there and listen to us replaying his knockout.
Yeah, the first half hour.
Yeah, that's gonna give him more of a reason to go in there and not try to knock Kenny Council out. So.
Are you a knockout puncher?
I do what I have to do. I mean, it's, like everybody keeps saying, everybody pretty much in Louisville and the world knows that Louisville's been sleeping for a while. It's not really, I wouldn't say, dying out, but I just think that we're hungry now. Future Promotions is coming along at a good time for us to make a movement. MMA's kind of taken over the attention for a lot of martial arts, and Louisville's the home of Ali, the greatest. So,
guys, we'll join you. We'll be back with more Sunday Sports Buzz.
Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll. You love your car, it's your best friend. There's one thing that you know. Before you drive around in any city or town, you want to show her up, you know. Yeah, this is how you roll. That's what we're all about. Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll. Gotta get
Calling all chicken lovers, now there's more chicken to love. With the new Chicken Strips Box, only at Rally's. 2 big, bold pieces of white meat chicken, crispy and crunchy on the outside, tender and juicy on the inside. Boldly breaded, sensationally seasoned, paired with our famous fries. For taste that rocks, grab a $2 box, because only Rally's gives you so much to love. Feast on.
Attention sleep apnea patients. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies.
Call 1-800-667-1850. That's 1-800-667-1850. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.